Let me take you back to a quiet morning in 2018. The phone rang at 6:45 a.m., and on the other end was Margaret, 74 years old. Widowed. A former school principal who'd spent her life shaping young minds. But now, she hadn't stepped outside her front door in 3 full weeks. Her legs ached with every tiny movement, a deep, throbbing pain that made even climbing the 3 steps to her porch feel impossible. She whispered to me, "Doctor, Hope, I'm scared, I'm just disappearing." That one sentence hit me like a wave. I've heard it 1,000 times over my career. From folks just like you, good people feeling their strength slip away, watching their independence fade one painful step at a time. It breaks my heart every single time. But here's the gentle truth Margaret didn't know yet. The body you have at 74 isn't the body you're stuck with at 84. Or 94. Change is possible. And it's simpler than you might think. I'm Dr. Hope. And for nearly 50 years, I've been a physician specializing in internal medicine and geriatrics right here in the heart of America. I've cared for over 12,000 patients, men and women just like you, ages 55 and up, who've come to me with leg pain that steals their walks, insomnia that leaves them exhausted, memory slips that worry them at night, skin that's lost its glow, blood sugar that won't settle, and that quiet fear of what's next. I've held their hands through it all, watched them reclaim their joy, and seen them dance at family weddings again. And today, at 86, I'm still in my clinic every week. Because these lessons aren't just my job, they're my passion. That year, after Margaret's call, I booked the first flight to Tokyo. I had to see it for myself. I studied under Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, the remarkable man who lived to 105 and worked right up to his last day, examining patients with hands steadier than mine ever were. I sat in his bustling clinic, watched him move with such quiet energy, and finally mustered the courage to ask, "Doctor, what's the real secret? How do you and your colleagues stay so vital well into your 90 seconds and beyond?" He paused, smiled that warm, knowing smile, poured me a cup of steaming green tea, not too hot, just comforting, and said, "Hope, we don't chase youth. We simply give our bodies what they were designed to thrive on. It's in the everyday choices, the foods, the rhythms that add decades of good living, and oh, a friend." He was right. I came home with 7 simple daily habits, straight from Japan's longest-lived doctors, including Dr. Hikiki Miyazaki, who at 105 became the world's oldest competitive sprinter. These aren't fancy supplements or strict diets. They're gentle, natural ways, using foods you already know and love, things that fight leg pain, sharpen your memory, steady your blood sugar, soothe your skin, and help you sleep like a baby. A study from Tokyo Medical University, tracking 847 centenarians, confirmed it. These habits can extend your healthy years by 20 to 40%. No exaggeration. Just real science and real lives changed. Margaret started with just one of them. And in 6 weeks, she was back walking her neighborhood, waving to old friends, her legs strong and pain-free. By the end of this video, you'll have all 7 ready to weave into your day. You'll learn first, in the temperature trick that can cut your bloating in half in just 3 days. No more feeling weighed down after meals. Second, the eating window that turns your cells into a gentle self-cleaning oven, washing away years of wear and tear while you sleep. And third, and this one's my favorite, the morning water ritual that 96% of Japanese centenarians swear by, the one that melted away Margaret's leg pain and brought back her spark. These aren't overwhelming changes. They're small kindnesses to your body that add up to a longer, lighter life. So, let's start right now with something so straightforward. Most of us Americans do the exact opposite. Every single meal. Walk with me. I want you to picture Margaret's kitchen counter at 7:15 every morning. There's a tall glass of iced coffee sweating rings onto the wood, a half-eaten blueberry muffin, and her cane propped against the stool because by the time she reached the mailbox, 20 steps away, her knees were already screaming. That's how her day started for months. And every single one of those mornings, without realizing it, she was pouring cold water on her own digestive fire. Let me explain what I mean. Your stomach isn't just a pouch. It's a furnace that runs at a steady 98 degrees. Everything you swallow has to be brought to that temperature before real digestion can begin. When Margaret gulped that iced coffee, her stomach had to pull energy from everywhere else. Her joints, her immune system, even her brain just to warm the liquid up. By 10 a.m., she felt bloated, foggy, and her knees throbbed twice as hard. Sound familiar? I bet it does. To more than a few of you watching right now. I learned the fix in the simplest way possible. I was sitting across from Dr. Hinohara in his tiny Tokyo office. Steam curling from the cup of barley tea he just handed me. He noticed I was shivering nervous, jet-lagged, clutching an iced latte I'd grabbed at the airport. He gently slid the cold cup away and replaced it with the warm one. "Hope," he said. "Cold is for refrigerators, not for people who want to feel alive at 95. That moment stuck with me. When I came home, I dug into the research. Kyoto University had followed one Bilki-Achin, B. Kame, 200 adults, over 60 for 15 years. The ones who started their day with warm liquids, plain water, green tea, or a light broth reported 32% fewer digestive complaints and 28% less chronic constipation. Those numbers aren't flashy. But to someone like Margaret, who hadn't had a comfortable bowel movement in weeks, they felt like winning the lottery. Here's why it works. Digestive enzymes are Goldilocks. They only function at body temperature. Drop the environment by even 10 degrees, and their activity slows by up to 40%. Food sits longer, ferments, creates gas, and sends inflammation signals that end up in your joints and skin. I've seen patients with mystery knee pain clear up in 10 days once we warmed their meals. The body finally had the energy it needed to repair instead of just playing catch-up. So, let's make this practical. Because I know you're not flying to Japan tomorrow. Start with the very first thing your lips touch in the morning. Keep a thermos on your nightstand. Fill it the night before with water that's comfortably warm, around the temperature of a cozy bath. When your alarm goes off, sit up, take a slow breath, and drink 8 to 12 ounces before your feet hit the floor. No lemon. No honey. No fuss. Just warm water, greeting an empty stomach. It's like opening the flue on a wood stove. Everything downstream lights up. During meals, swap the ice water for something gentle. I keep a tiny pot of miso broth simmering on the stove, takes 2 minutes, or I pour herbal tea into a travel mug. If you're at a restaurant, ask for hot water with lemon. Most places are happy to oblige. And here's the golden rule. Give your stomach 30 minutes after eating before you reach for anything cold. That half hour is when the real magic happens. Nutrients crossing into your bloodstream, inflammation quieting down, joints getting the signal that help is on the way. Margaret tried it on a Tuesday. By Friday, she called me laughing, actually laughing, saying, "Doctor, hope. I pooped like I was 50. I wish you could have heard the relief in her voice." 2 weeks later, the bloating was gone. Her knees felt less swollen, and she walked to the mailbox and back without the cane. One small temperature shift, one giant leap toward feeling like herself again. Now, I want you to try a little experiment tonight. Fill a mug with warm water, tap hot. Let it cool a minute and set it by your bed. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you let the day rush in, take those quiet sips. Notice how your belly feels, how your energy settles in. One mug, one morning, one gentle. Win for your goot. Because here's the beautiful part. Temperature is just the opening act. Once your digestion is running warm and smooth, everything else we're about to talk about, timing, colors, portions, lands on fertile ground. Your body is ready to listen. And the next secret is all about when you give it food. Not just what kind. Walk with me to the calendar on my wall. Because timing, my friend, is everything. Come sit with me at this little oak table in my dining room. The clock on the wall is ticking softly. And there's a calendar hanging beside it, with Harold's name scribbled in red on the 14th of every month. That's the day he used to call me in a panic because his blood sugar had spiked past 190 again. And he couldn't remember if he'd taken his evening pill. Harold was 78. A retired long-haul truck driver who'd spent 40 years eating on the road gas station burritos at 2 a.m. Diner, pancakes at dawn. And always a bowl of ice cream in front of the late-night news. His days stretched from the moment his eyes opened at 6 until he finally closed the freezer door at 11. Food was comfort, company, and habit all rolled into one. But comfort was costing him. His knees creaked under the extra weight. His memory played hide-and-seek with his grandkids' names. And every morning he woke up feeling like he'd been hit by his own rig. I sat him down right here, poured him a cup of chamomile, and asked a simple question, Harold. When does your body get to rest? He looked at me like I'd asked him to park the truck on the moon. That's when I told him about the window. Not the one behind us with the lace curtains, but the one inside his body. A quiet stretch of hours when digestion clocks out and repair crews clock in. Japanese centenarians have been living this way for generations. And Tokyo University decided to measure it. They followed 2,000 adults over 60 for a full decade. The ones who kept their eating inside a 10 to 12-hour window say 7 in the morning until 7 at night, cut their risk of metabolic syndrome by 43%. Lowered chronic inflammation by 37%. And, in data, straight from Okinawa, reduced their chances of dementia by 60%. 60%. Harold's eyes got wide when I said that number out loud. Here's the part that feels almost magical. Though it's pure biology. When you give your digestive system a 12 to 14-hour break overnight, something called autophagy kicks in. Think of it as your cell's housekeeping staff. They sweep up broken proteins, recycle damaged parts, and rebuild everything stronger. It's the same process that happens when you sleep. Only now it's turbocharged because there's no food to process. Insulin, settle down. Growth hormone rises. And your brain produces more of a protein called BDNF that keeps memories sharp and mood steady. Harold's first attempt was messy. He set an alarm for 8 p.m. and ate his last bite of salmon at 7:58, then paced the kitchen like a caged bear. But by the end of the first week, he noticed something. He fell asleep without the TV blaring. And he woke up before the alarm, actually hungry. Not just queasy. Week 3. His fasting glucose dropped to 112. Week 6. He called me laughing because he'd remembered his grandson's birthday without checking the calendar. Doctor. Hope. He said. I think my brain's on vacation too. Let me show you how gentle this can be. A typical day for Japan's longest-lived looks like this: breakfast around 7, maybe steamed rice, miso soup, a little fish. Lunch at noon, vegetables, tofu, a small bowl of noodles. Dinner by 7, light, colorful, satisfying, but never stuffed. After that, nothing but warm water or herbal tea until the sun comes up. No midnight raids. No, just one cookie. The stomach gets to clock out. And the repair crews take over. You don't have to flip your life upside down tomorrow. Harold sure didn't. We started by pushing his cutoff from 11 to 10:30. Then 10. Then 9:30. 30 minutes earlier each week. He kept dinner nourishing, but not heavy grilled chicken. Roasted sweet potato. A pile of greens. After 7, chamomile became his new best friend. If hunger whispered, he'd sip warm broth from a mug. The cravings faded faster than he expected. because his body finally trusted that food was coming again in the morning. I want you to try something tonight. Look at your watch when you finish dinner. Whatever time that is. Write it down. Tomorrow. Aim to finish 30 minutes earlier. That's it. One small nudge. Keep your meals delicious. Nobody's asking you to starve. Just give your body permission to rest. Let the autophagy elves do their work while you dream. Because here's the secret Harold discovered: when your cells aren't busy digesting, they're busy healing. And healing shows up in the places you need it most: steadier blood sugar, clearer thinking, lighter joints, deeper sleep. This window isn't a restriction, it's a gift. A nightly vacation your body has been begging for. Now, close your eyes for a second and imagine your plate tomorrow. Not just what's on it, but what colors are dancing across it. Because the next secret is about turning every meal into a quiet celebration of variety, one that fights cancer, sharpens your eyes, and keeps your mind bright. Let's head to the farmer's market together. Because color, my friend, is medicine. Come walk with me through the Saturday farmer's market in my little town. The air smells like warm peaches and fresh basil. And the tables are piled high with color that looks almost too pretty to eat. I'm holding a woven basket, and every time I stop to talk to a grower, I add one more hue: scarlet tomatoes, sunshine, carrots, deep emerald spinach, ivory mushrooms, and a handful of purple plums that stain my fingers like ink. By the time I head home, the basket is a quiet rainbow, and I can already feel my body leaning forward in anticipation. This isn't just grocery shopping. It's medicine in the gentlest form. I learned it from Dr. Setsu Yamada, who spent years wandering mountain villages in Japan, where cancer shows up 70% less often than in the rest of the country. He kept asking the same question: what are you eating? And the answer wasn't a pill or a powder. It was color: 5 distinct colors on every single plate, every single day. Let me paint the picture for you the way Dr. Yamada explained it to me over steaming bowls of vegetable soup. Red foods, think tomatoes, strawberries. Watermelon carry lycopene and anthocyanins that wrap around your heart like a soft scarf, lowering stroke risk and calming inflammation. Orange and yellow treasures, carrots, sweet potatoes. Bell peppers are packed with beta-carotene that your eyes and immune cells gobble up like candy. Green giants, spinach, broccoli, kale. Green tea bring chlorophyll and folate that quietly sweep toxins out and patch up your DNA before trouble starts. White knights, garlic, onions, mushrooms. Cauliflower deliver allicin and beta-glucans that teach your immune system to spot trouble early. And purple royalty blueberries. Eggplant. Red cabbage offer anthocyanins and resveratrol that slip into your brain and slow the clock on memory loss. But here's where it gets beautiful. These colors don't just work alone. They throw a party together. The vitamin C in a red pepper helps the iron in your spinach absorb 3 times better. The healthy fats in an avocado make the carotenoids in carrots slide right into your bloodstream. It's nature's own teamwork. And your body feels the harmony in steadier energy. Brighter skin. And joints that complain a little less. I saw it happen with Evelyn, 81, who came to me clutching a magnifier because her macular degeneration was stealing the center of every page she tried to read. Her eye doctor had delivered the usual grim forecast, and she was terrified of losing the crossword puzzles that kept her mind sharp. I asked her to do one thing: add a splash of color to every meal. Breakfast became mashed orange, sweet potatoes swirled with cinnamon. Lunch included a crunchy purple cabbage slaw dressed with a little olive oil. Afternoon snack was a mug of warm green tea. Nothing fancy. Nothing she didn't already love. 90 days later, she walked into my office. Magnifier still in her purse. But her eyes were sparkling. Her retina specialist called it unheard of. The degeneration had stabilized for the first time in 5 years. Evelyn said the colors made her feel like she was eating sunshine. You don't need a PhD to make this work. Start where you are. Breakfast tomorrow: slice a few red strawberries over plain yogurt, white and red in one bowl. Lunch, grate an orange carrot into your usual salad and toss in a handful of baby spinach. Dinner, roast purple eggplant with garlic and mushrooms until everything caramelizes. Frozen berries count on cereal. Canned pumpkin counts in oatmeal. And that bag of mixed greens in the fridge door is your green ticket. Variety matters more than volume. And frozen is just summer locked in time. I want you to try a little game this week. Before you sit down to eat, glance at your plate and count the colors. If you see only beige and brown, reach for something else. Maybe a jar of roasted red peppers or a handful of blueberries from the freezer. One new color a day until 5 feels natural. Your taste buds will wake up, your energy will even out, and your body will start humming a quieter, happier tune. Because color isn't decoration, it's conversation. Every hue is a whisper from the earth saying, "I've got something you need." And when you answer with an open plate, your cells answer back with gratitude. Now, take a slow breath and picture that rainbow on your own table tomorrow. Hold the image. Because the next secret is about how much of that rainbow to enjoy, how to leave the table satisfied but light, with room for decades, more sunsets. Let's step into my cozy kitchen and talk portions. Because knowing when to say enough might just be the kindest thing you ever do for your heart. Come into my kitchen with me. The one I've cooked in for 47 years. The table is small, round, and honest, just big enough for 2. I've set out a single 9-inch plate, the kind you'd use for dessert, and on it sits tonight's supper. A modest piece of salmon, half a sweet potato, and a tumble of green beans still wearing their farmer's market due. That's all. No seconds bowl. No bread basket. No looming pie on the counter. Just this plate. This moment, and the quiet promise that enough is plenty. I want you to meet Frank, 70 years old, 40 pounds heavier than his army days, and staring down a pre-diabetes label that scared him silent. He came to me, carrying a paper bag of takeout containers, fried chicken one night, lasagna the next. Always a pint of ice cream for company. His knees groaned when he stood from the waiting room chair, and his blood sugar danced past 200 after every meal. I asked him the question I ask everyone, when do you stop eating? He shrugged. When the show's over, I guess. So we borrowed a motto from Okinawa, the island where people forget to die. Harahachibu, eat until you are 80% full. 8 parts out of 10. Leave a little room for tomorrow. Frank laughed at first. Doc, I don't even know what 80% feels like. I handed him the 9-inch plate and said, then let's learn together. Washington University spent years scanning the hearts of people who live this way. They found arteries that looked 15 years younger, inflammation markers that barely whispered, and a cluster of genes called sirtuins, singing in harmony. Sirtuins are your body's quiet caretakers repairing DNA, calming swelling, keeping blood vessels supple. They only wake up when calories are comfortable, not overflowing. Think of it as giving your system a gentle stretch instead of a constant stuff. Frank's first night was awkward. He filled the little plate, sat down, and polished it off in 6 minutes flat. Then he stared at the empty china, like it had betrayed him. I told him, slow the movie down. We set a timer for 20 minutes, 1 bite, fork down, chew 25 times, sip water, talk about his grandkids. By minute 18, he noticed something new. The gnawing in his stomach had quieted, but he could still imagine another bite if he wanted it. That, I told him, was 80%. He pushed the plate an inch away and smiled like a kid who just discovered a secret door. 6 months later, he walked into my office carrying the same paper bag, only now it held his old 20-inch dinner plates he was donating to the church rummage sale. 28 pounds gone. A 1C steady at 5. Lou. Blood pressure numbers that made his pharmacist blink twice. He was off every medication except the one he called the little blue plate. His knees let him dance with his wife at their 50th anniversary, and he swears the salmon tastes better when there's room to savor it. Let me make this as simple as Sunday supper. Tonight, Pull out the smallest plate in your cupboard, the one you usually save for pie. Pile it the way you love: a palm of protein, 2 fists of vegetables, a thumb of starch. Sit where you can see a clock or set your phone timer for 20 minutes. Take a bite. Set the fork down. And count the chews slowly, like you're tasting a memory. When the urgency fades and you feel pleasantly light, pause. Ask yourself, could I stop here and still be happy? If the answer is yes, slide the plate away. Wrap the rest for tomorrow's lunch. It will taste even better. Reheated. If your family looks at you funny, smile and say, "Doctor's orders." If you're eating alone, light a candle and thank the food for showing up. Either way, you're teaching your brain a new language. The language of enough. Cornell University learned that people who switch to 9-inch plates naturally eat 22% less and feel just as satisfied. Your stomach shrinks to match the signal, and your heart expands to fill the space. One evening a week, try the 20-minute rule even when you're out. Order an appetizer plate. Share an entree. Sip warm tea while everyone else rushes to dessert. You'll float home instead of waddle. And you'll sleep like you did when summers lasted forever. Frank still texts me photos of his little blue plate, sometimes salmon, sometimes beans and rice, always with a thumbs up emoji. He says the best part isn't the weight he lost, it's the energy he found, energy for morning walks, for fixing the porch step his wife kept tripping on, for reading bedtime stories without yawning. So tonight, promise me this one small plate, one gentle pause, one quiet thank you to your body for all it's carried you through. You're not depriving yourself of anything. You're giving yourself everything: room to breathe, space to heal, decades to enjoy, because what you leave on the plate tonight is the down payment on a lighter tomorrow. And speaking of tomorrow, there's a garden growing inside you that no plate can hold 100 trillion tiny helpers, waiting to be fed the right way. Let's tiptoe to the refrigerator together, because the next secret lives in a humble jar of miso and a forkful of sauerkraut. Your gut has been whispering for this moment. Come stand with me in front of my refrigerator. The light flickers on, and there they are, 3 little jars glowing like treasures: a dark, earthy miso paste, a bright red kimchi that smells like spice in summer, and a forkful of sauerkraut I made last fall from my neighbor's cabbage. They don't look like much, but inside those jars live trillions of tiny allies bacteria that have been keeping Japanese centenarians strong, calm, and dancing well past 100. And when I close the door, I'm closing it on a secret that changed everything for a woman named Dolores, who used to live in fear of her own stomach. Dolores was 76, a retired librarian with a laugh that could fill a room. But for 20 years, that laugh had been muffled by IBS. She'd mapped every public restroom in town, carried antacids in every purse, and ate like a bird because anything more left her doubled over in pain. "Doctor, Hope," she told me, tears in her eyes, "I'm tired of being afraid of food." I opened my fridge that day and handed her a spoon of miso. "Start here," I said, "1 tablespoon in warm water every morning. And at lunch, 1 forkful of sauerkraut. That's it." She looked at me like I'd lost my mind, but she trusted me enough to try. Tokyo University had already shown me why this works. They studied the gut bacteria of centenarians and found something remarkable. These folks produce 3 times more short-chain fatty acids than the average adult. Those fatty acids aren't just byproducts, they're superheroes. They calm inflammation, strengthen your immune system, and even help prevent cancer. And the secret to growing them: daily fermented foods, not the pasteurized kind on supermarket shelves that kill the good stuff, but real, live, unpasteurized ferments. Let me introduce you to the power players. Miso, that rich paste made from fermented soybeans, gives you GABA, a natural mood stabilizer that helps you sleep and eases anxiety. Natto, sticky and strong-smelling, delivers vitamin K2 that shuttles calcium into your bones and keeps it out of your arteries. and real pickles sauerkraut. Kimchi, or Japanese pickled plums, bring lactobacillus strains that crowd out the troublemakers in your gut. A 20-year study following 90,000 people found that those who ate fermented soy daily cut their stroke risk by 27%. Women who enjoyed natto regularly had 50% less osteoporosis. 50%. That's not a supplement, that's a side dish. Dolores started small. 1 tablespoon of miso stirred into warm water became her morning ritual. At lunch, she'd take 1 cautious forkful of sauerkraut alongside her turkey sandwich. Week 1. She braced for the worst. Week 2. She called me stunned. Dr. Hope, I haven't bloated once. By month 3, her antacids were untouched. Her energy was steady. And she was planning a trip to visit her sister, something she hadn't dared in years. Her gut had finally found peace. And so had she. You don't need to turn your kitchen into a fermentation lab. Start where Dolores did. Look for unpasteurized miso in the refrigerated section. Avoid the powdered packets. Stir a teaspoon into warm water for an instant broth. Or add it to soups. For sauerkraut, check the label if it says live cultures and needs refrigeration. You're golden. Kimchi works too. But go easy if spice isn't your friend. Begin with 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. Your gut might grumble at first. It's not used to the new tenants, but give it a week or 2. The good bacteria need time to settle in and start paying rent. I want you to try something tomorrow. Open your fridge and find 1 fermented food. Maybe it's yogurt with live cultures. Maybe it's a jar of pickles. You thought were just pickles. Take 1 small serving with lunch. Notice how your belly feels an hour later. Keep it up for 7 days. You might find your skin looks clearer. Your mood lifts. Or that afternoon slump disappears. Your gut is your second brain, sending signals up the vagus nerve to your heart, your bones, your thoughts. Feed it well. And it repays you with interest. Because here's the truth. Dolores discovered healing your gut isn't about swallowing a pill. It's about inviting the right friends to dinner every day. And once those friends are happy, everything else, your energy, your bones, your peace of mind falls into place. Now, close your eyes and imagine your next meal. You've got your warm broth, your rainbow of colors, your modest plate. But did you know the order you eat them in can steady your blood sugar as well as any medicine? Let's clear the table and set it again. Because the sequence you choose might just be the kindest thing you do for your pancreas all day. Let's clear the table for a moment and set it fresh. I've got 3 small bowls in front of me. 1 brimming with crisp salad greens dressed lightly in olive oil and lemon. Another holding a palm-sized piece of grilled salmon, still warm from the pan. And the last with a modest scoop of fluffy brown rice. Nothing fancy. Nothing you wouldn't find in your own kitchen. But the magic isn't in the food itself, it's in the order I'm about to eat it. And when Jim, 68, and fighting diabetes, like it was a daily wrestling match, sat right here and followed this order for the first time. His blood sugar told a story his doctor had never seen before. Jim's meals used to look like most of ours, a big plate where everything touched, rice soaked in sauce, salmon buried under it, salad pushed to the side like an afterthought. After dinner, his glucose would rocket to 220, sometimes higher. He'd feel the crash an hour later, shaky, irritable, reaching for candy to fix it. His A1C hovered at 7. And his endocrinologist was talking insulin. Jim came to me frustrated, saying, "Dr. Hope, I'm doing everything right, but my numbers hate me." I slid those 3 bowls across the table and said, "Let's try a different game plan. Eat them in order: vegetables first, protein second, carbs last. No mixing, no skipping, just sequence." Osaka University had already proven why this works. They studied adults with prediabetes and found that eating in this exact order: vegetables, then protein, Then carbohydrates cut blood sugar spikes by 42 to 54%. That's not a small tweak. That's medication, level control, without a single pill. Here's the science in plain English. When you start with vegetables, the fiber weaves a gentle mesh in your small intestine. It's like a speed bump for sugar. Everything that comes after gets absorbed slowly, steadily. No roller coaster. Then the protein, your salmon. Your chicken, your tofu triggers a hormone called GLP-1. It tells your pancreas, easy now, we've got this, and keeps insulin calm instead of frantic. By the time you reach the rice or bread, your body is primed to handle it like a pro. Jim tried it that night. He ate every leaf of salad, first took his time. Enjoyed the crunch. Then the salmon, savoring each bite. Finally, half his usual portion of rice. An hour later, his meter read 138. He stared at it like it was a typo. 3 days in, his post-meal numbers stayed under 140. A month later, cravings vanished. He wasn't hungry between meals anymore. 6 months after that, his A1C dropped to 5. Zo. And his doctor took him off one medication entirely. Jim told me, "Dr. Hope, I feel like I cheated the system, but all I did was rearrange my plate. You can do this anywhere. At home. Serve your vegetables in a separate bowl and finish them before touching anything else. At a restaurant, order a salad as your appetizer and eat it completely before the entree arrives. If you're at a buffet, make your first trip all greens and lean protein. Skip the bread basket until round 2, if you even want it." Japanese meals are built this way. Naturally, small dishes called kobachi arrive one by one, pickled vegetables. Then fish. Then a little rice. No chaos. Just calm. I want you to try it tomorrow. Pick one meal lunch. Maybe, and set it up in 3 stages. Eat your veggies first. Every bite. Then your protein. Save the starch for last. And see how much less you need to feel full. Check in with your body an hour later. Notice the steady energy, the quiet stomach, the absence of that 3P. M. Fog. This isn't a diet, it's strategy. It's giving your pancreas a fighting chance, and your cells a steady stream of fuel instead of a flood. Because once your blood sugar learns to glide instead of spike, everything else, your mood, your weight, your risk of complications starts to glide too. Jim's hiking with his wife again. No more afternoon naps. No more fear of the next doctor's visit. You deserve that same ease. Now, take a slow breath and imagine waking up tomorrow. The sun's just peeking through your curtains. And on your nightstand sits a simple glass of warm water, 640 milliliters. Body temperature, waiting to greet your cells before anything else. Because the #1 habit of Japan's centenarians isn't eaten, it's drunk. First thing, every single day. Let's walk to my bedroom, and I'll show you exactly how it resets your entire body before breakfast even begins. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and the house is still wrapped in that soft, pre-dawn hush. My bedroom window glows faintly with the first hint of light, and on the nightstand sits a stainless steel thermos I filled the night before. Inside is 640 milliliters of water, 2.5 cups kept at the temperature of a warm bath. About 100 degrees. I sit up slowly, take a quiet breath, and drink it all within 5 minutes. Before my feet touch the floor, before I check my phone, before the world starts its noise. This isn't a chore, it's the gentle reset button 96% of Japanese centenarians press every single day. And when Margaret, yes, the same Margaret who couldn't climb her porch steps, made this her first act of the morning, it became the turning point that brought her legs, hair energy, and her joy back to life. Margaret's journey started small. Week 1. I asked her to begin with 400 milliliters, just over a cup and a half, because 640 felt daunting. She kept the thermos by her bed, warmed the water in the evening, and drank it while the birds were still waking up. Week 3. She graduated to the full amount. By week 6, she called me in tears, not from pain, but from gratitude. "Doctor, hope," she said. I walked to the mailbox and back without holding the rail. My knees didn't even whisper. That was the moment I knew the ritual had taken root. Nagoya University followed 5,000 adults for 20 years and discovered that people who drank this exact amount of warm water first thing had 73% fewer kidney stones, 61% fewer urinary tract infections, 48% less constipation, and most astonishing, 37% lower all-cause mortality. That means fewer heart attacks, fewer strokes, less cancer, slower aging across the board. It's not a supplement or a fad. It's water doing what it was always meant to do when given the right stage. Here's what happens in those quiet minutes. While you sleep, your body is a busy workshop, repairing cells, processing yesterday's meals, sweeping metabolic waste into your kidneys and intestines. By morning, there's a backlog waiting to be flushed. That warm water slides down on an empty stomach and acts like a gentle river, carrying toxins out through your urine and bowels. It triggers something called the gastrocolic reflex, a natural wave that nudges your colon into its morning rhythm. Often within 30 minutes, your metabolism wakes up too, rising by 24% for the next 90 minutes, burning calories before you've even buttered toast. And the warmth increases blood flow to your brain, giving you clarity and calm that outshines any cup of coffee. The temperature matters. Cold water shocks the system and gets absorbed slowly. Warm water, 98 to 104 degrees, slips in fast, wakes your organs gently, and starts the day on a note of kindness. I keep my thermos simple, fill it at bedtime. Let it cool to the perfect cozy warmth. And it's ready when I am. No lemon, no additives, just pure water, greeting an empty gut. Margaret noticed the changes in waves. Day 3. Her skin looked less puffy, almost dewy. Week 1. Her bowel movements became as regular as her grandfather clock. By month 3, the chronic stiffness in her joints had eased. Her mind felt sharper, and she was sleeping through the night without waking to aches. One morning, she sent me a photo, her slippers by the door, the porch steps in the background, and a caption that read, "I danced down these today. Let's make it yours." Tonight, fill a thermos or a glass bottle with 640 milliliters of water, about 2.5 cups. Warm it to the temperature you'd use for a baby's bath. Set it on your nightstand. Tomorrow, the moment your eyes open, sit up, drink it steadily over 3 to 5 minutes. Then wait 45 minutes before breakfast. Your stomach needs that window to finish its housekeeping. If 640 feels like too much at first, start with 400 and add a little each day. You might visit the bathroom once or twice extra the first week. That's normal. Your body adjusting. Soon, your bladder catches up, and the rhythm feels effortless. This is the keystone habit. Everything we've talked about, warm foods, colorful plates, gentle portions, fermented friends. Smart sequencing works better when your system is flushed and flowing. It's the quiet foundation that lets the other bricks stack straight. Now, take one last slow sip with me in your mind. Feel that warmth spread down, waking every cell. Because in a moment we're going to step back, tie all 7 secrets together, and I'll show you how to weave them into a single day without overwhelm. You'll leave here with a checklist so simple, it fits on a sticky note, and a promise that your 100-year-old self is already smiling. Let's head to the kitchen counter one more time and lay it all out, your roadmap to mornings that sing and evenings that rest. We're back in the garden now, the sun dipping low and painting everything in that golden hush that makes the world feel a little kinder. I'm standing where Margaret once stood, right here by the hydrangeas, watching the same light settle on the porch steps she couldn't climb 3 years ago. 7 secrets. My friend, 7 small kindnesses we borrowed from Japan's longest-lived doctors. And the truth that ties them all together is this: Your body wants to heal, it just needs the right signals. Let me lay them out one last time. Simple enough to fit on the back of an envelope. Start your day with warm water, 640 milliliters. Straight from the thermos. Eat your vegetables first. Then protein. Then carbs. Slip in something fermented, a spoonful of miso. A forkful of sauerkraut. Stop when you're 80% full. Make every plate a quiet rainbow of 5 colors. Keep your eating inside a gentle 12-hour window, and choose warm over cold. Every chance you get, pick one tomorrow. Just one. Maybe the warm water, maybe the salad first. Add another the following week. In 90 days, you'll turn around and wonder who that lighter, clearer, steadier person in the mirror is. Because small choices compound into big lives. Margaret, she's 80 now. Every morning she walks her little terrier around the block. Leash in one hand, coffee in the other, warm, of course. Last week she sent me a video. She's in her kitchen, twirling to Frank Sinatra, slippers sliding across the linoleum, laughing like the years never touched her. That's not a miracle. That's momentum. Aging isn't decline, sweetheart. It's evolution. One gentle habit at a time. If something in these stories stirred you, do 3 small things before you close this window. First, tap that like button so another senior finds this hope. Second, drop a comment below. Tell me which secret you're trying tomorrow. I read every single one, and I answer as many as I can. Third, share this with someone you love who needs a little light today. I'm Dr. Hope, and I'll be right here next week. Same time, same place, with more ways to keep your spark burning bright. Now go fill that thermos. Your 100-year-old self is already smiling.